we will be starting the session on experiential learning and career preparation now. A very good morning, everybody who's here today. My name is Sudarshan, an NUS South Asian Studies major. And as your MC for today, I would like to welcome you to the session where Associate Professors Loy Hui Chia and Cheng Shu Sin will be sharing with us on how you can enhance your CHS education beyond the classroom. And with that, I would like to pass the time to the both of them. Professors, please.
Thanks so much, Sajjan. So again, for those of you who came in from earlier sessions, you see my face already. So I'm Prof. Loy, philosophy person, who is also one of the vice deans for FASS, and with me is a different colleague from FOS. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Shu Sin. I'm from the chemistry department, but now vice dean for student life and alumni relations at FOS. So we'll share with you some ideas about experiential learning and career preparation today.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so just again to make sure that we're all in the correct kind of mind space, we're talking about mainly about out of classroom experiential learning in our session, right? Now, what does that mean? What does it mean, to do out of classroom learning? It's not just that you happen to be doing something that's outside of your classroom and then you learn from that. We do that all the time, right? All of us, I hope, do that all the time. But it really is about making sure that you reflect upon it and to take this as a chance for things like character development, gaining a bit of a self-direction and resilience, exercising leadership, negotiation, and above all, even the intellectual components of your learning is a lot of it happens outside of the classroom, right? Now, why do all these things matter? Right? All these things matter because they make you ready for life beyond your studies. Which, in case you haven't noticed, your studies is not your life, okay, right? So all of us, especially all of you who went through the Singapore school system, it's very easy to sort of get into that kind of mindset where, because like 95% of your world around you is school or everything that's related to school, it feels as if it's life, but it's not. This is only preparation, okay? So experiential learning is a very important component of this preparation. Thanks. So one of the major avenues of experiential learning within NUS, we're going to highlight 5 major clusters. This is not exhaustive. We can imagine other things as well, but here are 5 really, really big ones. Definitely global opportunities, definitely the residential programs, student-led activities, student research opportunities, and of course, the career preparation opportunities as well. Let's talk through each of them in turn, and then please feel free to ask us questions. Yes, thanks. So let's talk about the global opportunities first. So one way to think about this, we deliberately structure our exposition on each of the 5 in terms of sort of like, as if they are FAQs. Some of these were actual questions that were sent in, but some of them we just came up with them because we know that students do ask them eventually. So are there study abroad programs? So why are students interested to go on overseas programs in the first place, right? What do you gain, right? Yeah, thanks. Sushin,
so maybe I'll come in to share on this a little bit. In NUS and CHS, actually, we strongly encourage students to try to go overseas to have some experience. Why so? Because you really can expand your horizons, broaden your perspective when you meet other people, other cultures, and immerse yourself in there, right? So there are a lot of different types of programs within NUS that you can tap into in CHS. So here are some short-term opportunities that you can think about. In FASS, you can go for a lot of language immersion programs in different countries around the world. They also have there's also a FASS track summer program actually in NUS that other students come in here. But then if you participate in it, you can also go to different countries in Asia for immersion. There's short-term research programs that, so for example, with the Cambridge University, Toronto and stuff like that, but you can also participate in. So there's a lot of such things going on. Thank you. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. So there are also students that will go for something called Global Classroom. So for example, in the Food Science Technology Department, they have a program that allows students to go to Hokkaido University. And there's a School of Fishery Sciences actually over there where they will learn about seafood supply chains, both in Japan and in Singapore. And then you have field trips like biodiversity field trips, so geography as well. They will go for a few trips overseas. And then this nanotech module called SP3277 actually brings people to Japan to a university that talks about all these different nanotechnology ideas.
Yeah, so the important thing to emphasize is really that it's not just about learning things in the classroom somewhere else in the world, because whatever they can teach, we can teach one. Okay, but going to a different
Yeah,
kind of
it's the
classroom.
experience.
Yeah.
It's the experience that you will get in overseas universities, the different teaching styles, for example, or just interacting with other people. They are not in Singapore. Of course, you can have longer term ones like exchange programs, and I think a lot of the students have been asking about exchange programs in the previous talks as well. And so there are a lot of partner universities that we have in NUS and CHS. All you have to do is to think about which ones you want to go to figure out which modules you want to map back to NUS, and then you can try to apply and go there. So COVID has already been quite relaxed now. All our SEP programs have restarted. So you should expect that you can go for SEPs very easily. Okay. And there's something called, I think, the NOC that Loy can explain on.
Yeah. So the typical exchange program is about 6 months. So it's one semester. And then of course, there are also shorter term things like summer or just maybe, just a few weeks. But one particularly big one is called the NUS Overseas Colleges Program. It takes you away for 1 whole year, and you're embedded in a startup in one of these cities, one of these major entrepreneurship focused cities in the world, like whether it's Ho Chi Minh or Beijing or is Tel Aviv or Munich and so on and so forth, right? So you'll be spending a whole year embedded in a startup, and you'll be taking classes in a nearby university where we have a partnership. Now, this is a very, very competitive and desirable program. Quite a lot of FASS and FOS students do end up doing NOC, right? So I know that FASS is probably something like 70 to 90 people every year, every cohort, and science is probably in the same ballpark as well. So between the two faculties, we are probably like almost half of NOC is us already, right? But this is very competitive. You have to be very, very keen on entrepreneurship. They don't just take people just because you want to travel. Okay, you got to be interested in. You got to be very, very serious in entrepreneurship.
So there are, of course, other more formalized programs where we partner with different universities to have joint degrees. So I just maybe highlight 2 examples. We have the Life Science double joint degree with Dundee. Here, you will spend about 2.5 years in Singapore and then another 1.5 years in Dundee in UK, where you will then do your final year research project over there as well. So this is sort of a very good experience. In the FASS side, you can think about maybe the joint BA with North Carolina, Chapel Hill. So here, I think you spend the 2nd year in UNC just to learn, do modules there and then meet people over there. So you will have all of these different types of programs that you can tap into. So look up at the websites to see which ones are available and you can apply for them along the way. Okay. I think, so let's move on to residential programs. There are also frequently asked questions that people are interested in. For example, what is campus living like? What are the differences between halls and residential colleges? And then is it very hard to get a space, right? So the best person to answer this is Lloyd, because he's also a residential fellow at the NUS College, which is a college in UTown. So he can explain to you and share some of these experiences.
Yeah, so I've been living on campus since 2014. So, yep. Yeah, please, next slide. Yeah, so there are different kinds of residential options on campus, and you do try to understand the differences between them, the different broad categories, right? So one important category are the halls of residence. So there are 7 of them here listed here. Now these are all quite they're all quite well established, and they have long tradition. I've been to reunions, alumni reunions, where a bunch of people that look like they're my grandparents kind of generation went on stage to sing, because it's their X number of years of birthday of their particular hall. So these are very well established. Now, the main thing about halls residence is you join them, especially if you want to stay for more than 1 year, because you are interested in their cultural and social activity, their sports activities, because you want to be part of that kind of life. Okay, because otherwise you're not really adding to the community. So you just be very clear that that's what they're looking for. They're looking for people who are interested in their cultural, social, and sports activities. Okay, next. But a very different kind of thing will be residential programs in residential colleges. Now, these are academic programs. So these are not defined primarily by their social, cultural, sports. It's rather they have actual modules you need to read, there are MCs you need to clear, there are projects you want to do, and so on. The biggest, of course, is NUS College, is our new flagship honors college on campus. The size of the academic commitment is the size of a major, right? Even though it takes up most of the curriculum space, but the size of it is big. It's like 14 modules. The rest are smaller. They're typically 5 to 6 modules. But just as you don't join a hall residence, and especially if you want to stay beyond the first year, unless you're actually interested in their social, cultural, and sports activities. So likewise, you don't go and join one of these unless you're actually interested in the academic programs. Okay. Of course, but beyond these two,
And these modules, they will be part of the common curriculum of CHS, right? They are used to map into that, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. The majority of such modules will usually be mapped back onto CHS common curriculum, so you don't have to worry about doing extra. Now, the reason why we want to emphasize these things in a talk on experiential learning is because even though these are academic programs, likewise, just like the halls of residence, you are gaining experience and therefore you are learning from the experience. Okay, you get to do projects together with friends who are from different majors. You get to figure out how to living arrangements, right, and negotiate with each other, and their CCAs they are within the context of these programs, both in the halls and in the RCs. So these are very important sources of experiential learning in NUS. These are not the only. By the way, these are not the only options if all you want to do is just stay on campus, because there are actual just pure hostels and halls where you can just stay there, but where there are no programs. Those exist too, but we're emphasizing these two for experiential learning. Okay, yeah. Okay, so of course, student activities is going to be a huge part of it. NUS has a very, very thriving body of students who are doing all kinds of things. So will there be clubs? Can you join more than one club? Must I declare a major before you can join a club? Are there orientation camps? The answer is actually no. In many of the clubs don't actually require you to be of a particular major. Yes, there are orientation camps. Can you join more than one orientation camp? Our general answer is yes, but we usually give priority to people who haven't done any orientation camp yet, right? So we want to make sure that as many people do at least one as possible. Okay, but Sushin, please tell us more about the clubs. Yeah.
Yeah, so please don't spend your time in NUS and CHS just studying. You must go and do something with other friends and all this. So in FAS and FOSS, you have two main clubs. If you look at, we have the Science Club and also we have the FASS Club. So both of these are the flagship clubs within the two faculties, and they organize activities, for the general science and FASS population. And some of the activities, for example, they do a lot of sports. So Science Club have this. Recently, they did this Illuminous actually. So it's a night cycling exercise where they bring different people to cycle around Singapore. FASS also have some of this. They have this Olympics, which is also sports related. But there's volunteering activities. There's exam welfare pact, and then there's also, like I said, they organize FOPs, freshman orientation camps. So besides these two main clubs, you have other society clubs as well. They are tagged to each major. So you can see there's a whole lot of this. For science, for example, we have Chemical Sciences Society, which I'm quite familiar with because I was a staff advisor there. So they have actually organized talks for students to meet researchers like the faculty members so that they can share about Europe's projects or FIP projects and so on. The BES, which is the Environmental Studies Student Committee, they actually bring groups to do beach cleanup and stuff like that. So that will be actually something that you can think about. I think Loy can also tell us something about other societies in FASS.
Yeah, so in general, many of these societies, of course, typically the members are majors, typically, okay? Because it's very strange for you to be in the Chemical Sciences Society if you're not actually studying some chemistry at least, right? But there are also a few of them that in fact open their membership to, just across the board. One very nice example is the Japanese Studies Society. They have never restricted their membership, to not only did they not formally restrict it, but the fact of the matter is that, in fact, a big number of their members come from all around the campus. I remember one year I was talking to both the P and the VP because we invited all the club societies, to come and have lunch with us in FASS. And two of them showed they're both life science students, so that was really funny. That year, both the
Japanese is a very popular subject. Yeah. A lot of students want to take Japanese somehow.
That's right. Yeah.
Actually, even in science, what is that? The Statistics Society actually also have a president that's not from statistics, from actually computer science. Right? So anybody can join different of these societies if it's allowed.
Yeah, it is usually allowed, but of course, some clubs are a little bit more major focused. Then you find that everybody there is actually from the major, right? Okay, thanks.
But of course, it's not just about societies, and there are a lot of CCAs. So you should think about all the different CCAs in NUS that you can tap into and mingle with the rest of the community.
Yeah. Yeah. So moving on to a different kind of thing, which is student research opportunities, and now also student teaching opportunities. So are there such opportunities? The answer is yes. How do you find out more? Or this is where it gets a little bit more, I would say complicated, but it takes a bit of getting used to, because these things don't come to you on a silver platter. We do need people who are motivated, who are willing to go make them happen for yourselves, because a lot of it is about your independence. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I kind of mentioned UROPS just now. It's actually the Undergraduate Research Opportunity Program in FASS and FOS. So you can basically email professors, look at whether there are projects with them, and then you can, in the science side, for example, go into the lab and actually do research, right? There's now also, like what Prof. Lai is saying, UTOP, Undergraduate Teaching Opportunity Program, where we professors can now engage undergraduates to teach them how to teach. And then through teaching, you learn about different aspects of the curriculum, or also how to engage students and so on and so forth. In science, we have a very special program called Special Program in Science, SPS. So that is actually quite research focused. All the students there will be exposed to different disciplines in science. It's one of the flagship programs that has been around for a long time to integrate the different types of sciences that we have in FOS. So then all of these students also have to do research projects as well. So do look out for all of these different opportunities and make sure that you actively seek them out. Okay.
Yeah, let me say a bit about, sorry, I moved back first. Let me say a bit about Europe and UTOP. Right? Sometimes I'll receive random emails of students asking me whether or not I'm looking for research assistant. Actually, that's not the best way to get one of these opportunities, right? There's no reason why I will hire a person that I don't know, right? If I need someone with a particular skill set, I would tend to look for the person among students I've taught, because I will have seen them in action, and maybe I've seen them in action in a close by opportunity. So think about it from the point of view of, why would the person hire you if you don't have the CV or the kind of observational data for them to base it on, right? So my advice to you is this: don't worry too much about this in year one. What you want to do is, you go to class, be the kind of motivated student that the instructors will notice you, right? You're the kind of person who actually does well. I'm not saying literally do well in class. That's kind of a broad way to say it. It's rather, you are the kind of people that people can feel like they can trust you, right? You take a class with Prof. Chung in a chemistry class, and you are the person who seems to be doing very responsible with in the lab and all that. That will actually be someone that he will remember, right? So if he says that, okay, I got these 5 positions, I'm looking for people. I remember the girl in the class was really very responsible. That's a potential person I can look into. So yeah. Ironically, you do need to build up a bit of a, shall we say, portfolio, or reputation is kind of a weird way to say, but in a sense it is, because otherwise, why would people hire you to either be an undergraduate teacher or undergraduate researcher? Because after all, when you're doing these things for us, we're kind of counting on you to actually do the research one out.
No, but I think you also think about this in terms of the fact that it's not only students who are excelling in academics that they will do research or teaching, right? So even if you are not that great in your CAP, for example, and you try different modules and then you might not score well, right? But if you are very, very motivated and interested and passionate about a certain area, you can actually, a lot of professors are very open to take in students who want to do research with them. Yeah. And I just want to say, these are all modular credited as well. So UROPS, UTOP, SPS, they have modules that allow you to accumulate the credits. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. When I hire someone for this, when I hire someone for these sort of things, I don't tend to look at how well they score. I want to know whether they are responsible people more than anything else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a great way to learn independence and so on. So in science, we have actually a lot of collaborations with different companies and partners. So in the next slide, you'll see a whole list of companies that we have partnership with. Next slide. Yeah. So actually across NUS, so there's, like, for example, a collaboration with Agilent Technologies to use mass spec to look at biomarkers, right? So this is NUS Agilent Hub, and then there's a lot of money put into that. There's Synergy, which is also a consortium that we talk about for synthetic biology. So if you are in some of these areas, you can tap into some of these partnerships to do projects with the professors who are part of these programs. Of course, there are also professors who are not in the big programs, but then they have own individual labs or research, and then you can talk to them about doing some of their work. Okay, and there are also a lot of startups that come out from NUS. For example, you can see a lot of names here. A lot of them are involved in food because Singapore, food security is very important. So, for example, Singgrow and others. So, if you know professors who have done out certain startup, you can actually engage them again. Can I go to your startup to look at and work with you there as well? Okay. So these are some opportunities of research and teaching. Okay, so let's move on to career preparation. In CHS, we really want to help students prepare for their careers as soon as possible when they first join us. So here are some things that maybe Prof. Loy can share with you. How do we prepare you for your careers in general? Are there internship opportunities? And whether there are overseas internship opportunities, right? And the answer is yes for all of this. So Prof. Loy can elaborate on that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, next slide, please. So the first thing you want to know is that if you're a CHS student, we expect to put you through what we call a 4-year roadmap, right? Conceptually, we have ideas about what we think a typical year 1 student should at least do, year 2 student, year 3 student, year 4. It's all charted out, right? But we don't just give it to you as a checklist. We in fact enroll you in a module. It's called the Career Compass series. So every year that you're with us, you're actually enrolled in a module, and the career advisors are as if your tutors in the module, right? So that means that even from as early as first semester, according to your declared subjects, according to your indicated interest in different majors, we have grouped you together with similar students and then allocated career advisors to you, right? So please make use of the opportunities there in the following way. Number one, the modules serve as a bit of a basic checklist. If you want to be the kind of person who gone through all this, you are not waiting for the 4th year because it's way too late already. You got to start in year 1. Do the things that we tell you to do in the career compass series. They're all low-hanging fruit. They're not kind of difficult things, right? And many of our students do way more than that. But we want to make sure that everyone is at least the baseline, right? You check off certain things. And then secondly, make use of the opportunities that are created by the compass series because we have allocated particular career advisors to you. You know who they are. There's their email address right there. Their profile is right there. Email them, right? Consult with them, right? Go meet them and so on and so forth, right? So that's how you make use of the opportunities that are created by NUS because we put in a lot of resources to create these things, to hire these people. So make use of it, right? Don't just allow them to collect their salary for free, right? So make them work, okay? So go get their advice and and go for the workshops that are created by CFG, Center for Future Ready Graduates, and our career advisors. Thanks.
And if I may add, actually, this whole series of Career Compass is not just for you to develop a career, it's really to develop yourself. I think one of the key tasks in this first module that we mounted last year, HS 1401, which is the first Career Compass module, is for people to actually do career plan, think about what their interests are and how to develop this interest into something eventually could be employment or something else, right? So really engaging with the career advisors and doing some of these tasks that's being assigned to you are really going to be helpful for development in general. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's a longer process. Long gone are the days where you can say that let me finish my degree first, go on a gap year, and then come in and apply for a job. Right? People are getting good job offers at the end of their year 3. So if you are that kind of person who is any kind of ambition at all in a good career, you cannot just wait until the end. Right? But we're not saying that you start applying for jobs in year 1 either, right? We spend a bit of time to think about what is it you are trying to target and do the things in NUS that will make you an attractive hire by the time you are in year 3, year 4. So this is a multi-year process, and it's okay to start small, but it's not a good idea to start late, right? Okay, so are there internship opportunities? Yes, and those of you who came for the earlier session will have heard me say this in Q&A already. We see our job, people like Prof. Chung and myself, we see our job very much as we go out there and convince stakeholders and employers to advertise with us, to create opportunities for NUS students, right? But in most cases, we won't hand you these jobs on a silver platter. We need you to apply for them. We need you to put out the hand, send your CVs, go for interviews, right? But definitely we always try to make sure that the opportunities exist, the resources exist, right? If you need advising, the career advisors are there, right? If you need help on crafting a CV, the career advisors are there. If you need to see advertisements, they're all on Talent Connect. There are, and many more besides, right? Seniors will have many contacts as well. But yes, our students do gain a lot of industry experience, right, in internship opportunities. And today, you can get modular credits for doing internship modules. That means that you are doing an internship and we are giving you modular credit for doing one extra thing, which is to write some reports reflecting upon the internship experience. Why do we want to do that? It's not so that it's not just we want to read your writing. It's not like that. It's rather you learn more when you don't just experience, but you reflect upon the experience. The reflection cements the learning. Okay, that's how we think about it. So we're giving you credits for the reflection, right? Because I don't think we should give you credits just for going out there and do a job, because you really got your reward. It's aligned in your CV. But if you're going to get credits from us, we will make you do a bit more to reflect upon the experience so you can solidify your learning from the experience. Okay, thanks. Yeah. There are also faculty-specific programs. So FASS has something called FASS 2.0 industry track. So if you're interested in one of these 5 broad industry areas, and we chose them because we know that a lot of people do go there, or they're kind of dominated by our people anyway. We do have curated things that you can do for each of them. So go and find them on our website. It's not difficult to find, right? We also have mentorship programs. FASS has one that's running for more than a decade, almost 2 decades by now. FOS has also started one. So these are all very nice flagship programs that we want to have, where we bring alumni mentors to help our students. To sort of, it's not to give you a job, it's rather to help you sort of connect with people who are already in the industry to see a wider perspective. There's certain things that, it's a lot easier when you hear them from people who are actually there, right? They can tell you the ins and outs of the gossip that we can't, right? Though I can tell you a bit of gossip because they also talk to me, but still, it's much better to hear it directly from the horse's mouth, from the particular industry.
Well, it's not just about the gossip, I guess, but the alumni will also be able to share with you their life experiences, right? And also what are the things employers look out for in their companies, the different things that you're learning in common curriculum might come into use when actually you go into the job market. It's not just your particular major that's important. Yeah. So in FOS, we have the industry seminar series that will help to bring alumni as well as industry partners to come and share with you what the landscape is about and what their companies do. So, do participate in all of these different types of activities available.
Yeah. When I say gossip, let me just say that, right? It's actually a more serious point than you think. There are a lot of things about industries that are not on a piece of paper. Okay, they are not.
True.
If you go for a job interview in a tech company, what should you wear? Does it make a difference? If you go for a job interview in a bank, what should you wear? If you show up in the bank interview wearing the thing that you should have worn for the tech company, you're not going to get the job. Okay, and vice versa. Okay, so some of these things are not necessarily straightforwardly codified. Industry insiders know, and then sometimes they don't even realize that they know this until you talk a bit more. They bring you around the office, then you realize that people behave a certain way. This is the kind of place I want to be, or maybe it's the other discovery. This is not the kind of place they want to be because this is how they dress. My goodness, I'm not going to be here, right? So some of these things are not things that you can put down on a piece of paper. You need to learn them from experience. You need to talk to people who have the experience. I call it sort of half-jokingly gossip, but the gossip is actually worth a lot. Okay, this kind of gossip. Okay, yeah. Okay, thanks. Yeah, I think we're coming almost to the end.
So, other than the industry seminar series, for example, there are also other types of workshops and hackathons and competitions. So I'll just highlight a couple here for you to think about. So I think the Food Tech Challenge has just started for FST, where they partner with Nestle and this international company called International Flavors and Fragrances to actually solve some problems that both of these companies are interested in. Last year, when CHS started, we had the inaugural CHS case competition that brought in different partners from Schneider Electric, from Ministry of Transport, and KPMG Consultation Group, where we asked students to think about how to encourage Singapore to adopt electric vehicles. So you can see these kind of questions are kind of broad end, right? And then you require a lot of different expertise. So there are groups that come from business school, from NUS, from FOS, from FASS, and then they provided solutions. They are quite comprehensive. So some of these competitions, workshops, and hackathons. Please look out for them when you see when the emails come along, and then try to see whether you can find people to participate together with. The CHS case competition is also going to have a second round coming up in July through September. So look out for some of these emails as well. First years can also participate if you know some of your friends already who are in NUS. Then form a team together. Okay. So we hope to see you there. So at the end of the day, experiential learning is really important. I'll let Loy close up by re-emphasizing how important we think it is.
Yeah, so you don't get the full value of a university education if all you can think about are the courses and the readings and the syllabus and the modules. You simply don't, right? The networking, right? The friends you form, and it's not just friends, it's not just companions, it's rather who are the people who know other things that you don't know about, right? If you don't even know what are things you don't know, then it's really tough. If you at least know what are the things you don't know and you know who are the ones who know, you can ask them, right? And that's how our networks make a huge difference to us. Even today, as a philosophy prof, as a vice dean, I often will have to figure out who is it that knows something, right, that I don't know, and I want to reach out and find out how to collaborate and do things together. Okay, and of course, part of that is about your own personal development as well. So it's not just the network, but it's yourself. Right? Are you becoming the more resilient kind of person who is able to stand on your own 2 feet, who has your own thoughts, your own intellectual development in the world, right? So it's not just in the classroom, but outside the classroom. Because after all, we don't live our life inside a classroom. We live our life outside of the classroom. The classroom is important, but beyond a certain point, it can only prepare you. And a very important part of the preparation has to come through your actual practice out there in the world through experiential learning. So I hope that this has been helpful to you. Let's take some questions, and I actually need to run off for different appointments, so I'll stay for maybe about 10-15 minutes of questions, but I'm sure that my colleagues here can continue with the Q&A after that. Yeah. Do I need to, should I help coordinate a little bit? I can do that. So one question, your NUS offers certain languages not offered by NUS CLS, such as Latin, Classical Chinese, Singapore Sign Language. Okay, so here's the funny thing, right? I actually know the person who is doing the Latin thing and the Classical Chinese thing. I've known them for many years, okay? And those year NUS language classes have always been open to NUS students. I don't know whether you all realize this. All the year NUS language classes, actually they're open to NUS students. But of course, they will prioritize their own students first, but usually there will be slots left for our students. Now, year NUS hasn't closed. They still exist for the next 3 years. So they will still continue running these classes as long as there's interest. And if you are really interested in signing up for them, please go and sign up for them. Okay. And of course, CLS.
There are questions on. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, CLS.
There are questions on. Finish what you want to say. Sorry.
The CLS will of course always be evaluating what new languages they want to offer. So there's also a longer. But I don't dare to comment on their behalf. I'm not the one who is going to teach those languages. Yeah, thanks.
There are some questions on the halls in which you can stay without having a lot of activities. Which ones are those, Loy?
Okay, they are not called halls. They are called they are called residences, right? So Utown Residence is one. PGPR is another one. Prince George's Park Residence. But they have also created another 2 more. They are not programmed, but they are pastoral support. One of them I think is called Lighthouse. So what you want to do is go to the Office of Student Affairs OSA website and look for the various residential options. They exist. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
What are some of the languages included in the Linguistic Society? Now, so this is where it's a bit tricky because linguistics is not about particular natural languages. The study of linguistics is about the formal features of language across all different kinds of languages. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether it's Russian or Chinese or whatever, is all under the purview of linguistics because you're not studying Russian or Chinese or whatever. Okay, so just to be clear about that. Okay, so if you're interested in linguistics, the formal and social features of language, then of course the Linguistic Society is something that you want to look into. I think it's called Linguistics Club. I can't remember whether it's society or club really. Yeah.
There are a series of questions on the Career Compass module, so maybe I'll just share some things more about it and then hopefully answer some of these questions. So we try to make sure that all of these career development or personal development activities are framed into modules now, because you really want to impress upon students that this is very important for you to start doing when you first come to NUS. When we don't do that, actually a lot of students might start not think about it that early, and then they wait until their third year, or maybe even up to the fourth year, then they start thinking about it. By the time it's really too late, and it can affect their employment, in the future. So we really want to start this early, and therefore we frame everything up into a module to encourage students to be exposed to and do some of these activities, right? And then I think one of the related question is and then the CAs that we hire, of course, they are highly qualified because they have already been in industry. They have gone to different types of jobs, and then they decided that, okay, there's something they want to do is to advise the next generation how to look for the jobs and develop their careers. So these CAs are actually highly qualified. So you should definitely tap into the CAs. Make sure you have even one-to-one meetings with them to think about how to develop your career. Okay, I think there's one more which I missed. So if you have in CHS, you declare your first major, usually you'll be assigned to the career module that is within that faculty. So if let's say you're first major in life science, then you are going to be assigned to a career campus module that's HS 1401S. But if you are first major in FASS, then you'll be HS 1401A. Okay, so think about things like that.
Don't overthink the campus modules. They are really meant, the modules themselves is not where the action is. The module, think of the module as a bucket list, as the where we give you the advising. Look, in year one, start thinking about this, start doing this, try to maybe attend a few of these workshops. So the module exists to let you know the structure, right? You sort of go through the module by doing those things. The module itself doesn't contain its own content. It's really a structure to make sure that you are doing the kinds of things that you ought to be doing to start thinking about a longer term development.
Yeah.
SEP, so student exchange program. So you need to understand that so the short answer is you can only apply for the ones where we have an NUS partnership, and there's a very simple reason why. It's called a student exchange program because one of our students go, one of their students come, so that both these students can pay home university fees. Our students continue to pay our fees, their students continue to pay their fees. The only way that can work is because, well, there's a roughly balanced number of people who are moving back and forth. Okay, so that means that without an exchange agreement, there is no way to do exchange. That's why it's called an exchange. Okay, however, here is the good news. You have access to NUS level exchange programs. So some of these agreements are made between NUS and the overseas universities. You have access to, if you're an FASS student, if you're FASS major, then of course you can access agreements that are made between FASS or a particular department, econs, let's say, with a particular university. And if you're a science student, you can access exchange agreement between your department or your faculty and a particular university. So you have access to both, not just the university level one, but also the FASS or FOS one. If you belong to particular special programs on campus, like you belong to one of the RCs or belong to NUS college, you have access to even more. So those people will also have opportunities. So don't over worry about this. In general, pretty much everyone who wants to go can go. I'll just say that. But you do have to be aware of supply and demand, because if everybody is trying to go to those 5 slots in Berkeley, then I'm just making up the numbers. Okay, then of course that it's very competitive, and people are going to interview you and see who they want to select. Okay, here's a small piece of advice. If everybody is crashing on the usual places, I don't actually think that you are getting the best value. A lot of the students are very conventional in that thinking. Everybody wants to go to the usual, US and Australian and UK universities. But is that really the best way to use your exchange? It's not a bad way, it's even a good way. But will you be able to learn more of a different kind of thing if you go to not so obvious places? Go to China, go to Japan, go to South Korea, go to
ASEAN countries as well.
ASEAN country, yeah, right. So think a bit further, okay? Yeah. Are there other than the campus series, are there other career programs that are limited to students whose home faculty is CHS? Our mentorship programs are restricted, obviously, to our own students because our own alumni are involved. So obviously, we have a bit of a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that don't just let anyone to move around. Yeah, Sushin, you guys are working on exactly the same model, right? Is alumni mentors.
Yeah, mostly the same models in the sense that if you are CHS, then you can tap into the different programs that are in FOS or FASS. But one thing I would say is sometimes there are students who have a first major in another faculty, not in FOS or FOSS, but they have a second major in CHS. Then they might also be able to tap into our Career Compass series. And then they also might be able to tap into our mentorship programs, like the academic mentorship programs that we have in FOS. Sorry. Yeah. So it depends on the program itself, but most of it is just open to CHS students.
Yeah, but if you are especially keen and you have a very good reason, you just write to us, then we'll think about it carefully, right? We won't necessarily just say no. I mean, if there's a very good reason, we will always look carefully, right? But in general, we created this for CHS, meaning science and art students, right?
If you have an undergraduate scholarship, an organization would used to be eligible to take out internships with other organizations. This one, I think you will have to check in back with the company that sponsors you for this scholarship, right? Whether they allow you to go and work with other companies during some summer vacation time, because usually some of these scholarships require you to go back to the company to serve out a certain time during your candidature.
That's right. So we will not be the ones who will police that. So your own scholarship body will be the ones who they care about this. Right? We will say, no, you do whatever you want and please get as many experiences as you can. But your scholarship board may say, no, your summer belongs to us. Then that one we cannot say anything about. Okay.
Yeah, I think there's one question on this Hooks and Wings 2.0 modules. In general, all the workshops or programs offered by CFG, Career and or Future Ready Graduates, they will expand if there's a need to, in terms of providing more slots or more modules. So for example, actually the CHS Career Compass module, one of the main tasks that we want students to do in the first year is the Career Catalyst module, which is 2MC. And in the past, in the first year, only less than 50% of students do it. Now it's close to 100% of students do it. And CFG actually expanded their capability to be able to provide for all students. So you can always count on that for sure. Okay.
Yeah, so don't worry too much. If the demand really exists, we'll make sure that we go and arm twist people who need to offer this. When will internships take place? There are different options. You can do an internship in the summer, right? And that's actually a very, the so-called summer holiday, the June, July holiday. It's a good time. A lot of people do that. If you really want to do an internship during the semester, it is not an impossible thing, but you need to sort of plan a little bit and think about how you're fulfilling all your other modular credit requirements. You want to graduate on time, right? So so we want to make sure that that you can graduate on time while doing internship in a semester. It is possible, right? Yeah, it's also possible even to do a half-year internship. It's not an impossible thing at all. But you want to seek advice from our respective deaneries to make sure that everything works out for you. Yeah. So we in general we try to support students, right? To help them. Yeah.
Both semester internship and special semester internships, like the summer ones, are available both in FOS and FASS. And then in CHS, actually, we encourage you to do internships as early as you want. So you should look out for internship opportunities that are suitable for year 1, year 2 students in Talent Connect or even self-source, right? And you can actually embark on a UPIP, University Professional Internship Program in FOS at the end of your first year already, that summer. So basically, if you matriculated in last year, August, this summer, right now, they can already embark on internships.
Yeah. Okay, I actually need to run off for a different meeting already. So good to see everyone here, and please feel free to continue asking questions and make sure that Prof. Chung will
keep your questions coming.
And Nicholas, are you around?
Okay.
So in case some of them have a FASS specific question, you can answer also. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. So good to see everyone. I'm going to take my leave now. I had to run off for a different meeting. All the best. Take care.
Thanks, Lloyd.
Yeah.
So for application process for global opportunities, I think this one you should simply refer to the website. So both FASS and FOS have very elaborate overseas exchange or opportunities website information there. So you can go to those places to look at how you apply for the different programs, because they are short-term ones. They are the semester-long exchange programs, right? So you should look out for this and see how it's done. Are there other questions that we have not answered? Let's see. I think we have answered most of these questions that has been asked, right? Are there any more? Yeah, I think we've answered a lot of the questions that you have posted onto the Q&A. But if you have any more burning questions, please feel free to let us know. But if not, we might maybe hand it over back to the MC to close up the session.
All right. Thank you so much, professors, for the engaging question and answer session. Okay, and for those who are tuning in now, or you came in a bit later and you still have more questions, please email them to askchs@nus.edu.sg. I repeat, askchs@nus.edu.sg. All right, okay. And with that, before we conclude, we would like for you to participate in a quick poll, and you should be able to see the poll flashing up on your screen right now. So do help us provide some feedback. And as everyone takes some time to finish the poll, I would like to highlight some of the other upcoming talks that we have. Do stay tuned. Very soon within this same Zoom session, we are going to have the last session of the day and hear from our student presidents as they share their learning experiences as student leaders. Okay, and importantly, we will also be having our physical open house on the 14th of May, this coming Saturday. I repeat, on the 14th of May, this coming Saturday. Okay, so do come down and experience a slice of campus life and find out more about the majors of your choice. And if you're wondering right now, okay, should I come down for the open house? It's a Saturday. Do I want to come in the morning? Well, please do, because it's the perfect opportunity for you to talk to both professors and students and figure out, clear out any doubts that you may have about any academic majors or even CCAs for that matter. And also at the same time, okay, you will also be able to experience a slice of campus life. So as much as we have these Zoom seminars and Zoom sessions that are really helpful, there is nothing like coming to NUS itself and experiencing the school culture physically. So with that, we would like to just finish up the poll right now. We have a few more people left to submit the poll before I conclude. We have about 7.
Yeah, if I may add, all the societies are going to have booths in the physical open house. So do come down to talk to fellow students, your seniors, and ask them questions as well about how to participate in the societies. Okay, and then I think the next talk is going to be by the Science Club President and the FASS Club President. So they will be able to share with you their experiences as well over there.
Yeah, do please say it's just within this.
Stay around. Yes.
Okay, we have a few more people. Could you just fill up the poll first and then we can move on? All right, okay. I think we have just a bit more to go. And as Prof. Chung said, this is an excellent opportunity on Saturday for you to come and talk to all the various booths, figure out what you want to do with your uni life. As a student within university for the past 3 years, I can safely say that academics is only one segment. There's so much more, like all that was covered today, internships, overseas programs, so on and so forth, including your CCAs as well. So do come down on Saturday. It'll be great. Okay, and with that, we have come to the end of this session. And we'd like to move on to the next session right now. So for those of you who have tuned in just right now in this moment, a very good morning to you. Actually, a very good afternoon, sorry. My name is Sudarshan. I'm an NUS South Asian Studies major. And as your MC for today, I would like to welcome you to this session. Up next, we have the student presidents from the 2 faculty clubs, okay, to share their experience and learnings as student leaders. Professor So will moderate the session. So without further ado, we'd like to pass the time over to him. Professor So.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you hear me and see me? Good. Okay, so thank you very much. So now today we move to the final segment for this morning's digital open house. For the whole entire morning, you all have been listening to the academic faculty members, right? So we give you the details about the curriculum, about the different various program, also still different student exchange program and different study abroad program. Yeah, I think it is very, very nice and apt to have students themselves who come and share with you about their experience about what life in NUS has to offer, besides, of course, the academic studies, besides the exchange program, besides many other things. And today, together with me here, we have Richmond and Sophia. Both of them are leaders of the Students Club, respectively, from the Faculty of Science and Faculty of Arts and Social Sciences. Yeah. So I think I do not want to take up too much of the time to introduce. I will let Richmond and Sophia to share with you the exciting things that you can get to experience. Okay, so you join the College of Humanities and Sciences, and then this life is not just about study. Yeah? You can have many, many exciting things that you can experience. So take it away, Richmond and Sophia. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hi guys, so let me just share my screen, okay? Okay, hope you can see my screen. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, can. Coming. Okay, yeah. Okay, can.
Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Richmond Sin, Year 1 Data Science, and I'm the president of the NUS Student Science Club. Yeah,
Yep.
and my role, is the president. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm Sophia, and I'm the president of NUS Students Arts and Social Sciences Club, but more affectionately we're known as FASS Club. And I'm year 2 doing Global Studies and Political Science double major. Yeah.
I'm sure you guys must be wondering, like, what exactly is the science club? What exactly is the FASS Club, right? So both of us, we are under faculty clubs, and in NUS we do have faculty clubs as well as academic societies. So in science, we have a total of 8 academic societies, which are your respective majors. So for myself, I'm data science and analytics. So I'm under the statistics society. And let's say some of you guys might be from the Bachelor of Environmental Studies. Yeah, then you'll be under the BES society. So the difference between the faculty clubs as well as the academic society is that for faculty club, we plan more for events for the general science population or the general FASS population. Yeah. Whereas for academic society, it's more towards planning for the events for just that particular major, and as well as having the academic side of the academic society. So things like maybe your past year's papers and everything, they'll be the ones to collate and of course to share at the website for everyone in that major to use it. And I think just to share briefly of what we do under the faculty club. So we do have the freshman orientation projects, welfare events, as well as student life events. So for the welfare events, for science, we do have like your usual exam welfare pack giveaway right before your exams. So that is like a morale booster for all of you before you go for your exams. And we also have back to school giveaways so that you guys can feel motivated, especially since like it's been like 3 months, before, you start school again. Yeah. And for the student life events, we do have like the Illuminus, which will be happening soon. Yeah. And for Illuminus is a night cycling event for our science students after, the examinations. And we also do have like Donsei Bojo, which is a sports event catered for science students as well as science staff, for all of them to like come together to have fun. Those will usually take place over the course of this semester. And we also do have the academic related events where we have internship opportunities, resume workshop, as well as talks. So maybe like some of you guys might not be very interested in all these like student life events. You're more interested in like the career side of things. We do have them, and there's no such thing as like, it's never too early, to embark on this. And if let's say you're interested, to find out more about what like your major entails or whatsoever, we do have staffs as well as the career management side to actually explain to all of you guys on what exactly, to look forward to in your particular major. And we also do have the freshman orientation projects, like what I mentioned. So this will be the full lineup of events, which will be catered for all of you guys, especially when you guys will be matriculating, in this coming August. Yeah. So I'll now hand over the time to Sophia, who will be explaining about the FASS side.
Yeah, so from my side, it's very similar to what Richmond has mentioned in terms of welfare events, student life events, and academic related events. So for welfare events, we also have mid-semester kind of like cheer you up event kind of thing. We give you out small goodie bags, and we call it like let's sweeten our friendship. And you can also take photos at the photo booth, write small notes for your friends for encouragement. For student life events, very similar also. We also have sports, community engagement, bonding. So one of our landmark events is called FASS Buddies, where we will try to pair you up and let you meet friends from across the different majors and across the different seniority. So it's not such that you would be limited to just making friends within your classes, your tutorial classes. And for academic related events, FASS Club this side, we have been liaising with different ministries outside. So external vendors, external speakers, we've been trying to engage with them and provide our FASS students with avenues that they can broaden their horizons in terms of academic and also in terms of their employment opportunities. Yeah. Then I think Richmond will continue to share about his the side of freshman orientation projects.
Yeah. Okay, so for science, we do have science camp, in short, SCAM. Yeah, it'll be happening on the 14th to 17th of June, this coming June. Yeah. And next, we have the Science Orientation Week, which will be happening from the 20th to 23rd of July. Yeah. And I'm sure you guys must be wondering, how come we have two different camps? So we try our best to ensure that we matriculate, or rather we give everyone, as many people as possible, a chance to meet new friends. So we have two separate camps, the same as for FASS side. Yeah, and we also have the science rack, in short, which means receiving and giving. So this is to have a performance for those beneficiary that we have been helping. And of course, for those people who have sort of like donated, to those beneficiaries, and for them to sort of show our appreciation through the performance. And all rack and flag for all faculty will be held on the 6th of August. And next, we do have the science flag, which is for science students to go around to sort of like gather donations for our beneficiaries. So for the science flag, usually science rack and flag will start our recruitment right after science camp, because this is the first camp, and science rack and flag is like an avenue for all of you guys, to like get your friends together, to go and join all these events to help out, before the school starts. And lastly, we have the science verse, which is the bash, in short, and it'll be happening, either on the 26th or 27th of August. So for the science verse, it's the last of the whole entire FOP sequence, where it will end off like the sort of like the entire freshman orientation projects, before the start of your semester. And for science verse, is pageant. Sort of like you have your friends who will be selected from science camp, who will be your pageants, and they'll be showcasing their talents. And of course, through this event, we're also promoting sustainability as well as the eco-sustainability side, whereby the participants will actually make their own costumes instead of the usual, the suit where you get from like the commercial side. Yeah, we are actually promoting more towards the sustainable side. And of course, to sort of get everyone to shift away from the fast fashion. Yep. Now I'll pass my time to Sophia.
Yep. So for FASS Club side, it's also very similar. We have 5 projects also. So we have our arts camp from 20th to 22nd June, arts orientation week, arts O week, 20th to 23rd July, arts rec. The camp is on 13th to 15th June, and the rec and flag day is the same school-wide, which is 6th of August. And then we have our arts flag. The dates are tentatively 26th to 27th July and 2nd and 3rd August, but it might be subject to changes. And lastly, we have our arts mode, which is kind of similar to what Richmond mentioned as the science verse, but for arts mode, we are more focused on the human expression through artistic ventures. So it's less so about like pageant and like bash, talent. So it's more about the expression of costumes. So you can see in the photo here, you can see it's very handmade, and it doesn't look very prim and proper like the usual kind of glam prom photos. Yeah, so this one, the runway event that is going to be happening from 18th to 24th August. And I think beyond these FOP projects and also the different student life events that we've mentioned earlier, right? Another very important thing about faculty clubs is also the fact that we are the bridge between the students and the faculty and the dean's office. So if you have any feedback, any concerns about about your student life, about your academics, our faculty clubs, both FASS Club and Science Club, are the avenue that you should look up to, so that you can turn to them for help if you need if so, we can also help you to escalate any issues, pressing issues that you might need us to address for you. Yeah, so that's something that I want to emphasize in terms of our faculty clubs. So we kind of shared our different, what is our clubs about, what events do we hold, and maybe now you might be wondering what can you get out of it if you do join our faculty clubs. So both FASS club and science club, what can we offer to you in terms of a personal growth, in terms of friendships, in terms of your resume, this kind of stuff? What can you get from joining us? So I think personally for me, right, it was a lot about like the sense of community and the new friendships that I've managed to forge through this experience. So it's quite, I mean, it's very cliche to think that way, that, you know, you're in a club, then obviously you forge a lot of strong friendships. I think it's needless to say that it comes along with it. So with all the mugging, with all the proposal writing, so much preparation, all the blood, sweat, and tears, you're bound to form a lot of strong friendships. And I think that's why it's very important that we find ourselves a support system. And I think faculty clubs is really one of the best opportunity for you to meet people, and not just people within your own year, but also across the different seniority, across the different majors, especially since CHS, for both of our side, we offer very, very diverse options of majors and choices. So I think that's a very, joining a faculty club is like a very good chance for you to meet new people, yeah, and have a strong sense of community that can, you know, tide you through the 4 years in uni. And I think joining faculty club, the role that you take on, right, it really makes you see things in a different light in terms of both leadership, in terms of faculty work, in terms of basically your whole worldview about university life might change because you're seeing things from a different perspective rather than just like an ordinary student already. So I think personally for me, especially later I'll be sharing more about my journey also. It was very enlightening to see how things are done in the background rather than, you know, just being the recipient of events. And I think last point that I want to talk about is also you know, development and growth. So like I mentioned, I kind of learned a lot from this journey, and I think development and growth, another very cliche thing that comes along with joining this kind of clubs, right? But it's true, it's very legit that you're going to learn and grow, especially since university, this kind of faculty clubs is on a whole new different scale and level compared to like your JC, your poly, your secondary school council events. So I think it really gives you a lot of space to grow and a lot of potential to learn more about yourself. Yeah, Vishma, what about you?
All right, thank you, Sophia. I guess from my side, I do agree that, you know, this is the first group of like friends, and, you know, I have this sense of community, you know, when I joined science club. Yeah, and like all of you guys here, you know, just a year ago, you know, I was just like you guys, you know, sitting in front, you know, of the Zoom and just joining all these like open house just to hear, you know, what's there, what's coming my way, you know. And I think for myself, because I'm just a year one, I would say, especially this year when things are more like towards I would say the start of my uni life is more towards fully fully online, and afterwards hybrid, and now slowly becoming more physical. So I would say during the virtual times, I would say science club is the avenue where sort of like for me to meet a lot of new people, and all of them, most of my science club people are actually year ones, and they are all from different majors. And where else can you find people where you can have so many different majors? I mean, I personally do stay in residential college in Tembusu, and I do meet like people from different faculties, but in science, I meet people with different majors in just particularly in science, and science is the place where I'll be spending, you know, my 4 years in NUS. Yeah, and I would say same as Sophia, you get to see a lot of the work as well as like the leadership part of things behind the scene, as compared to, you know, those participants when they are participating in the event. So if let's say, you know, you're interested in planning for events and you're interested, you know, in meeting new people, I feel that like faculty club is a place for you lah. And I'm sure you guys must be quite confused now as to like the different clubs. So just to put it in short, basically we have the NUS Student Union, which is like the main one for the entire NUS, and every faculty has its own faculty club. And for FASS as well as for science, you know, we have our respective academic societies as well for your different majors. Yeah, and I think for science club, I think personally for myself, the reason why I ran in year one is because I feel that like in year one you have like the most SUs. Yeah, so like I'm sure like before you came to NUS, you know, they always tell you that, you know, when you're in your year one, you know, go and try something new. And that's how like sort of like this whole CHS thing came about, because they want you to sort of like experience the interdisciplinary part of the FASS side as well as the science side. So take your time in like year one to really go and try out the different things, not just in terms of academics, but also in terms of like CCAs as well as like faculty club commitments. And I'm sure like, you'll gain a lot from this whole journey. Yeah. And I think in terms of for those people who are interested, as to how this will actually like help in terms of like your career, like your portfolio, like moving forward, I would say in terms of the portfolio wise, not so much, but I would say in terms of building up your character as well as your confidence, in speaking up in terms of public speaking as well as presentation skills, because every faculty club, every like sort of like director and like everyone in faculty club, right, has to do like some sort of presentation lah, in one way or another, through your meetings and stuff. So I think that's where you sort of like practice. And I think throughout my like sort of like all the tutorials that I went through, right, I realized one common thing is that people who sort of like dare to speak up, they are often like from like they either like in faculty club or like they are in their respective like hall RC, CSC. So I would say it doesn't really help you in terms of like your career, but it helps you to build up that confidence in terms of public speaking, and it'll help to shape you in terms of having a more purposeful like when you sort of like plan for events, you have a deeper thought about the whole purpose behind it. Yeah. And I think that's what attracted me to join science club in the first place. Yeah. And for myself, why faculty club on top of a hall or RC club? I would say you're restricted by the people staying in the same residence, and majority of the NUS population don't really stay in campus lah. So you don't really get to meet those people who don't stay in campus. That's why I choose to sort of like join science club, so that I meet more people who doesn't even like, for those people who don't even stay in campus. Yeah. And I would say this is where I will be studying for the next 3 to 4 years. So this is the place where I want to meet more friends lah. Because in terms of your tutorial, your lectures, especially when you guys are coming in, we are going full physical for the tutorials as well as lectures, and you guys would definitely want like a group of friends where you can go to class or like go to lectures together. And I have to say that the FOP that I joined, the orientation camp that I joined like 1 year ago, even until today, they are still the same group of friends that I attended those tutorials and lectures with. Yeah. And next, you guys must be wondering like like our journeys, like how do we ended up here and how do we end up in our role? Yeah. So I think for myself, personally, I think the main takeaway is I think don't have any expectation for anything that you join, and just go in with an open heart lah. And you'll learn more than what you expected. Because I think in uni, like a lot of people thought like, we should know what we are doing. Yeah, but sometimes it's okay to be lost in the year one and slowly just figure your way out and just try new things along the way. And I think to be able to realize your vision, yeah, because I think faculty club, as much as like, science club, FASS club, it sounds like, it's like the usual, like, I don't know, your secondary school clubs and stuff. But actually, it is more than just the name itself lah. And we actually get to enact changes, such as like the initiatives that you want to push for. And I think for science side, I mean, during COVID, a lot of people don't really come to school. So they don't really like feel the sense of belonging for science. Yeah. So that's where, I start to come up with like the faculty shirts as well as the merchandise to sort of like give it to our science students and to make them feel that they're part of science, even though like, they are at home. Yeah. So these are the things that, you can actually try to experiment it out, and, you can just realize it, as long as like, your team and yourself, just push through until the end. Yeah. And I think I really enjoyed the personal impact that I get to make on the people that I'm serving with. And like I work with people of different ages. So one of my director, already graduated. Yeah. And myself, I'm a year one. So you can just imagine that age gap. And a lot of my directors and my vice presidents, they are also like year twos. Yeah, going to year threes. So I would say moving on in the workforce, next time you'll be working with people of different ages. And I would say like university or rather in NUS, this is the good time for you to get to work with people of different age. Yeah, and to realize that academic year does not define you as well as your role. Yeah, and you're more than what you think you can achieve. Yeah. What about you, Sophia?
Okay, so for my side, I would say like both of us had quite an unconventional, like, route to where we are right now. Because I mean, like Richmond joined in as year one. So you just imagine you're a freshman, you come in, you don't even know much about NUS, then you become the faculty president already. So that's something I really admire about his like courage to take on the role. And I think for my side, I would say mine is a bit unconventional because, to be honest, from the start, I really didn't want this role. I didn't like the idea of having so much responsibility on my shoulders. You just imagine like 6,000 students, their student life, their student experience in NUS is just dependent on you for 1 year. And that's a really scary thought. So I didn't want this heavy burden on me. So I wanted to just, I wanted to just vibe by myself in year 2. So I didn't want this responsibility. So it took a lot of like coddling and a lot of persuasion from many different people to get me to try and really actually try for this role. And I guess I was also a bit like hesitant about my leadership experiences and whether I can really live up to the responsibilities of the president, because I had leadership experiences, but it was never at the level of like a president at a faculty club. Yeah, so it was really like a different level, a different capacity that I had to take on. And I think that inertia it was very hard for me to get over. But once I got over it and I really did step into the role, right, it was just, I guess, you have to, in a sense, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. And I think so far I've managed to make it well. And I think it's really like a steep learning curve that really pushes you to try and realize the potential that you didn't realize you have. Because I would never expect myself to be able to like fill up a role of president at uni level, So I think it was an opportunity that I really, really cherish. And I think especially the friendships that I made, like I think I keep mentioning about friendships, but you can see from the slides, like the photos, right? It's really like very fond memories and good friendships that kind of tide you through the different times, especially when it gets very stressful when you're doing faculty club work. And I think you can see like just from the conversation on the screen, like that's my presidential cell, and we are all like, we talk like we have no brains. Yeah, so it's just within 1 minute and we have like 3 different that I met that make this whole journey really worth it. And I think especially the capable people that I've worked with, be it like the Dean's office people, the external vendors that I've worked with, the different passionate people from the different acad societies. So I really cherish these experiences. And I think once again, it brings me back to the point that I managed to see the faculty work and also my student life in the different light. Yeah. So that kind of sums up me and Richmond's journey as president so far. And I think what you guys can look forward to and look forward to hearing more from us and also hearing more about our different acad SOCs, our different majors and departments would be on the 14th May open house. So it's happening this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and we'll be there throughout the whole day with you'll see us there basically, and you have any questions, you can ask us, you can approach us about our roles if you want to run for president. Yeah, so Richmond, you have anything to say?
Yeah, and I think don't worry if there's too much information for all of you to like download. Don't worry, like our Instagram page is over there, Science Club as well as FASS Club. You can just feel free to like DM us, and we are more than willing to answer any of your queries. And I'm sure like both of us, we have shared a lot about the role of the president, but I just want to emphasize that faculty club is not just about the exco role. We do have subcommittees as well. So if you feel that you might want to try something like slow, or like just like try things out, you can feel free to join like the respective subcommittees, which will start their recruitment after you guys matriculated in and we do have the exco role before the subcom recruitment if you are interested. Yeah, but of course all this information we'll pump down in our respective faculty club IG page. So don't worry, just follow them and just look out for the respective updates. Yeah, and I think before all of that, just go and have fun, join as many orientation as possible, go and sign up, and yeah, just meet as many new friends as possible. And like what Sophia mentioned, I hope to see all of you on our physical open house for the first time in 2 to 3 years,
Yes.
This coming Saturday, yeah, from 9 to 5 p.m. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Oh yeah, if you have any
Okay.
questions, feel free to.
Yeah, thank you very much, Richmond and Sophia, for the very enlightening sharing. Yeah, I think it's very valuable to hear from the students. Look, they'll share with you their experience, and then you can see that you can really enrich your learning experience in the university, right, by being very active, right, and contribute to enriching your own personal experience. You also, influence the life and experience of your fellow students. Yeah, maybe I pass it back to Sudarshan. Should I manage the Q&A sessions? Yeah.
Hi, thank you so much, Sophia, Richmond, and Professor, for being here. Okay, we would now like to open this session for any questions from anyone. Please do use the Zoom Q&A function. Simply click on the Q&A tab and you will be able to ask questions. So don't be shy. This is the perfect opportunity for you to talk to presidents of our faculty clubs themselves. So yeah, feel free to just chime in and ask questions on Zoom. Again, I repeat, just click on the Q&A tab and you will be able to ask questions.
So we just answer the questions, right? Like that's presented in the Q&A.
Oh yeah. Just
Okay.
go ahead, please.
There's
Sorry.
question on how do you automatically join the clubs, or do you have to do something else? Yeah.
Okay, so everyone is once you enroll into science or like FASS, you're already under science club or FASS club. Yeah, and you don't really apply for the club, but more of you sign up for either for ours it's called Science Club Management Committee, SCMC in short, or you sign up as a subcommittee, which we will start the recruitment, by publishing all those signups on our Instagram page. Yeah, so it's not like science club is not really like the CCA per se, but it's more of like because everyone is already in the club already in the faculty club. It's more of you join the subcommittee to plan for those events. Yeah.
I think we have one more question. That's like, just to clarify, does science camp equals to freshman orientation? If I miss out on the series of camps, does that mean that there will not be any other orientation opportunities?
Okay, so science camp is one of the freshman orientation camp, apart from science orientation week, and we only have 2, and we have limited slots for both of the camps. But if let's say you're unable to join any of the camps, you can also join the red and flag, which there are 2 separate events So for the red and flag, you can either sign up as a float, costume, where you sew the costumes for the performers, or you can be the dancers. So those are the opportunities for you to sort of like meet new friends and to sort of like orientate into NUS. And flag is where you and a group of friends will sort of like gather as a group, and then you'll go around outside of NUS to sort of like gather donations for the beneficiaries.
I think just to add on for that question, right? So freshman orientation projects, FOP in short, right? It kind of is like an umbrella term for our 5 different projects. They are all supposed to be part of freshman orientation project. So it's not like science camp or arts camp is equals to freshman orientation. So it's kind of, they are part of freshman orientation projects. Yeah. So, and it's like an umbrella term used across all the different faculties.
Okay, up next, we also have another question, and they're saying, if I am a CHS student, how do I decide whether to go for FASS or FOS club? So Prof and Richmond, Sophia, do you have any input here?
Okay, so maybe I will just answer this question because I'm the first batch of CHS students. So once you declare your major, you'll be parked under either of the clubs. Yeah. So if let's say you declare before you matriculate in, then you're already by default. If let's say you're a DSA major, then you already declare before you come to NUS. Then you'll be parked under science club when you come into NUS. If let's say yours is PPE or political science, then you'll be parked under a FASS club when you join NUS. Yep.
Okay,
And in
another
terms of,
question.
sorry,
Sorry.
in terms of
No, no.
like what you want to, if you want to join as like subcommittee members, join as management committee, join as exco, right? This one is dependent on what's your home faculty. So let's say if your home faculty is science, then naturally you should be joining science club. And if your home faculty is FASS, you should be joining FASS club. But that's more important for like the exco. So let's say the presidential roles, the management committee roles. But if you're joining subcom, this one is more fluid. So you don't necessarily need to be in the home faculty of FASS to join FASS club subcommittees, something like that. But we will post more about this kind of stuff nearer to the elections, which is going to, and the recruitment, which is going to happen when the semester starts also. So do keep a lookout on our IGs. Yeah.
I also believe with regards to IG, there's another question. How do we sign up for the CAMs and Red and Flag? Is it through Insta pages?
Yes, so there will be different publicity channels, mainly on Instagrams. So if you follow FASS Club, our FASS Club Instagram, and we also have our freshman orientation projects IG, which is FASS.FOP. So that's our FASS specific FOP Instagram. So if you follow the IG page, you can also see relevant posts, updates, etc., and the links will be embedded in the different posts. So yeah, so as long as you follow us on FASS Club and follow us on FASS FOP, you will be able to keep yourself updated. And for Richmond's side, your Instagrams?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Same for our FASS Club. It will also be on our Instagram. And if you realize, like from the presentation just now, for all the FASS Instagram pages, so every respective subcommittees will have their own Instagram page. And they all, for FASS side, all starts with FASS dot whatsoever. So if let's say you just search FASS dot, you'll see all the subcommittee pages. Yeah, and you can just explore them. And for Science Club, you just search NUS Science, and then you'll see all the subcommittee Instagram pages on the search history, on the search results. Yeah. So the same for ours. You sign up through the page will sort of like post the sign up link where you can just click the link and then you just sign up through there. Yeah.
Okay, we have another question as well. And it's coming from a concerned prospective student. A lot of my seniors from college say that clubs mostly, are there to socialize and have fun. Is that true? What about academics?
I would say like they are not mutually exclusive, So if you want to social, I think student clubs, when you get together, it's confirmed you will have to socialize here and there. And I think socializing part is what keeps the club fun and bonded together. And in terms of the academic side, personally for our side, or FASS Club at least, my management committee is really hardworking. So sometimes they make me very stressed about my studies when I see them studying and I'm not studying. So they make me study instead with them, and we organize a lot of study sessions together whenever we are in our committees. And I wouldn't say it's like a dichotomy that you must choose either or. You have to choose either socializing and then neglect your studies, or choose studying only and then just be a loner in school. So it's not mutually exclusive, and I think it's very dependent on yourself how you manage your time also. So I think that's a consideration that you have to take into account when you're joining faculty clubs in the first place. Yeah, but it's definitely not like you have to make a sacrifice. Yeah.
And I think
I also would like. Sorry, go ahead, Richmond.
Okay,
I'll add on.
just to add on to that question, I think it's not like you choose faculty club and then you cannot join academic society. So I would say if let's say you're more towards like the academic side, you want to join academic society because they do the respective majors, the academic discipline side of things. And you can always join academic society and join science club, yeah, or join FASS club, So you can join both if you want and if you can manage. Yeah, it's not like you have to choose one. Yeah, so in terms of managing fun as well as like academic side of things, I think if you really want the best of both worlds, you can join both. Yeah.
Actually, if I may add, a lot of the academic societies, they also do academic activities. So in science, for example, the chemistry society or the statistics society, they have activities that cater to students who are interested in academics as well. So yeah, do take note of those.
Yeah, actually, to add on to Prof. Cheng's point, because I myself am a year 3 NUS student, and I was actually part of an academic society as well, the South Asian Studies Society. And I can say that, it's not so much a question of, is it academics versus my club and my CCA? They do go hand in hand at times, because a lot of times, the stuff that we do for the CCA does help us in our assignments and so on and so forth, be it research or even outreach as well. Okay, so with that, I think there might be one more question. So do take a look to our Zoom chat to figure out the camp dates. Thank you, Prof. Chung, for adding them there.
I think there's like some questions that that is really answered through written form, right? But maybe I can just like tap on it and expand on it more. So there was a question about why am I missing out if I do not attend any of the FOPs? So I think that's a concern that some people might have because we have limited slots, and I think limited slots is also one of the questions, right? So even though it will be an experience that you might not be there for, I believe that it wouldn't be something that it will affect your student life for the next 4 years, such that as long as you don't join a camp, that it kind of makes you different from the rest of the students. So it's kind of like an experience, whether you want this experience or not, and whether you want to make new friends through these camps and make new friends through your OGs. So I wouldn't say you are missing out on a lot, but if you do like the experience of meeting new people, taking part in camps, taking part in REC and fundraising and working with beneficiaries, then this is the experience that is catered towards you already. Yeah. But it's not like we force you to go such that you won't lose out on anything. Yeah.
Okay, with that, sorry.
sorry.
So sorry to cut you again, but please
Sorry,
add on, Richmond.
just one last part from me is that for science side, we have science orientation day for international students and those who are unable to join any of the science camp or science orientation week. So if let's say you tried for both and you're unable to get in, we do have the third one, which is the 1 day thing, for you to sort of get to meet new people. Yeah, and we do have the science orientation day expected to be on week 0 around in the first week of August lah. Yeah, so if let's say if you cannot make it for any of the 2 camps, you can still join this particular camp, like mini camp here lah. Yeah, for you to meet new people. Yeah, and if let's say you sign up for all the orientations and you're unable to like get into any, we do have events in our respective faculty for you to meet new friends as well. Yeah, so don't worry about that. Thank you.
Sudarshan, can I sorry to cut you off on this? Yeah.
Oh,
so
sorry,
maybe
no worries,
yeah.
as long as it's the last question. So
yeah,
no
it's a last comment because I just
okay.
want to repeat the message again. So as Richmond, as Sophia has already mentioned to you, May 14th is a very important date for us, also very special because of past 2 years we cannot do face-to-face physical kind of open house. But this coming Saturday, we have the opportunity. Yeah, so you get to come and talk to them in person, because then you can talk to them and ask a more detailed questions. And as I already mentioned, the society will also be represented. So different society will be there, and the students will tell you about their activities, and very importantly, the camp they have put in place to welcome you to their families here. Yeah, and on the same day itself, we have also organized tour to the faculties. So you'll be led by the students who bring you around to see the general facilities and infrastructures and atmosphere in the faculty. And we have educational tour that bring you to demonstration labs, special program inside. And we have research lab tour. Yeah, you want to see how research lab tour is like? The department has also organized research lab tour for you. So come and then sign up for all those exciting tour. And then you get to really see, this is a place that I'm going to learn in the next 4 years. You'll be very, very exciting. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prof. and students, for joining in this session. All right, and thank you all for your active participation and your questions as well. Okay, with that, we have actually almost come to the end of the session, but before we conclude, we would like for you to participate in a quick poll so as to gather some feedback on how to improve further sessions. And while everybody participates in the poll, I would like to invite all who have joined us today, just as Prof mentioned, to come down to NUS on the 14th of May, this coming Saturday, for our physical open house. Meet us in person to partake in a slice of our vibrant campus life and find out more about some of the activities at our student activities booths as well. You will also have the opportunity to learn more about the majors of your choice. And also, as Richmond mentioned, this is actually our first open house after 2 or 3 years after the pandemic, and finally when the measures have eased. So we are really looking forward to it. And if you're debating, whether I should come, I should not come, it's on a Saturday, please do come. It's the perfect opportunity for you to speak to professors and students, and as much as we have these online seminars, it's nothing like experiencing NUS's student culture in person as well. All right. Okay, so we have a few more people to fill up the poll. Do just fill it up. Okay. And the open house on Saturday will also be an excellent opportunity for you to learn about the different booths and the various CCAs that we have. As Prof mentioned earlier, every single society will actually have a booth this coming Saturday. So it's going to be an excellent opportunity. I mean, being here for 3 years in NUS, I can safely say that, your academics is only a segment, an important segment, but also combined together with your CCAs and your internships, this is what makes your entire uni life really fruitful. So please do come down on Saturday. All right, okay, we have a few more people to finish up the poll. Please do fill it in, so help us in future events. And okay, thank you so much, everybody, for your participation today morning and for taking time out of your busy schedules to be with us today. And we would love to see you again on Saturday. With that, we'd like to wish you a brilliant week ahead. Thank you, and have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Richmond and Sophia.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.